In an extraordinary clash between politics, law, and media, a Trump-appointed prosecutor has found herself at the center of a viral controversy over so-called off-the-record messages. Lindsay Halligan, recently appointed as U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, reached out to Lawfare senior editor Anna Bower earlier this month regarding coverage of her prosecution of Attorney General Letitia James. Halligan, a farmer insurance lawyer and beauty pageant contestant, seemed to believe she could retroactively declare messages off the record after sending them on Signal, a platform where messages can be set to disappear. Bower, however, made it clear that's not how journalistic ethics work. The exchange quickly drew widespread attention for its unusual mix of political tension, legal stakes, and personal missteps, sparking discussions about the boundaries between government officials and the press. The context for this unusual interaction centers on Halligan's role in prosecuting Attorney General Letitia James, who has faced accusations regarding her Virginia property. James allegedly misrepresented a second property as a second home to lenders, while using it as a rental investment. James has denied any wrongdoing, calling the charges baseless and framing them as part of what she sees as a politically motivated campaign. Halligan, tasked with leading this prosecution, reached out to Bower about reporting on the case, apparently frustrated with the coverage of her actions. Her messages criticized Bower's reporting and attempted to assert control over how information was perceived, despite the fact that journalists operate on established rules regarding off-the-record conversations. This set the stage for one of the most publicized missteps by a government lawyer in recent months. The exchange between Halligan and Bower took place on Signal, a messaging app that allows users to set messages to disappear after a certain time. Halligan texted Bower, insisting, "By the way, everything I ever sent you is off record. You're not a journalist, so it's weird saying that, but just letting you know." Bower's response was firm but professional. "I'm sorry, but that's not how this works. You don't get to say that in retrospect." Despite Halligan's insistence that the conversation should be treated as off the record, Bower clarified that off-the-record status must be agreed upon beforehand. This misstep highlighted a basic misunderstanding of journalistic norms, and it was made even more conspicuous by Halligan's attempt to retroactively claim authority over the use of her messages, which had already been sent without any pre-agreed terms. Bower continued to press for clarification, asking Halligan what specifically was inaccurate in her reporting about the New York Times' coverage of James's property case. Halligan, instead of offering clear corrections, sent frustrated texts, accusing Bower of bias and of twisting facts to fit a narrative. She wrote, "You're biased. Your reporting isn't accurate. I'm the one handling the case, and I'm telling you that. If you want to twist and torture the facts to fit your narrative, there's nothing I can do. Waste to even give you a heads up." This exchange painted a picture of a prosecutor who seemed unaccustomed to media scrutiny and journalistic procedures. Observers noted that it was highly unusual for a government lawyer to reach out unsolicited, criticize coverage so bluntly, and attempt to claim off-the-record status after the fact. The Justice Department weighed in after the story was published, essentially defending the journalist while clarifying Halligan's position. In a statement to Bower, DOJ officials noted that Halligan was attempting to point you to facts, not gossip, but criticized the retroactive off-the-record claim. The statement highlighted that government attorneys must adhere strictly to legal and ethical rules, especially when dealing with grand jury information. It also warned that such misunderstandings could make it difficult for journalists to engage with officials in the future. The situation sparked widespread commentary, as Halligan, who had never tried a case before being appointed to prosecute high-profile figures like James and former FBI Director James Comey, appeared inexperienced in both courtroom and media relations. Critics called the interaction uncharacteristically risky for a federal prosecutor. The background of Lindsay Halligan adds another layer to this story. Before her appointment, Halligan was a former insurance lawyer and a Miss Colorado USA beauty pageant contestant. She had never tried a case in court, yet she was tasked with handling prosecutions involving high-profile political figures. This raised eyebrows among seasoned legal professionals, who questioned whether she was adequately prepared for the complexities of federal prosecutions. Her text messages to Bauer only amplified those concerns, as they revealed a lack of familiarity with basic media protocols and the ethics surrounding off-the-record conversations. Many commentators described the incident as a cautionary tale about the importance of media literacy and professional experience, particularly for government lawyers operating in politically sensitive cases. The fallout from Halligan's signal messages has fueled discussions about the relationship between government officials and the press. Journalists rely on clear, pre-agreed boundaries for off-the-record conversations, and any attempt to retroactively impose such terms undermines trust. Bauer explained on CNN's The Source that she would have been happy to speak off the record if Halligan had asked beforehand, but since no such agreement existed, the messages were fair game for reporting. Legal observers noted that Halligan's actions could discourage future interactions between journalists and government officials, making transparency more difficult. The case has become a teaching moment for both aspiring prosecutors and public figures, highlighting the need to understand journalistic norms before engaging with reporters, especially on politically charged cases. In the end, the story underscores the challenges of navigating politics, law, and media in today's environment. Halligan's messages, intended to control the narrative, instead backfired and drew public scrutiny. The episode highlights how inexperienced officials can stumble when handling high-profile prosecutions and media interactions simultaneously. Meanwhile, Bauer's reporting reaffirmed journalistic standards, emphasizing that off-the-record status must be explicitly agreed upon in advance. Halligan's attempt to retroactively claim such protections not only failed, but also illustrated the risks of informal communication channels like Signal in professional settings. As the coverage continues to make waves, it serves as a cautionary tale for government attorneys, reminding them that political appointments do not substitute for experience or media savvy, and that transparency and clear communication are essential in high-stakes cases.